what you want me to be. Feeling so faithless, lost under the surface. Don't know what you're expecting of me, put under the pressure of walking in your shoes.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
Every step that I take is another mistake to you.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you. Can't you see that you're smothering me, holding too tightly, afraid to lose control? 'Cause everything that you thought I would be is falling apart right in front of you.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
Every step that I take is another mistake to you.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
And every second I waste is more than I can take. I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you. And I know I may end up failing too, but I know you were just like me, with someone disappointed in you. I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you. I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Tired of being what you want me to be. I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Tired of being what you want me to be.
How's it going, everyone? Tonight's show is going to be a bit different than what you're used to seeing us do. We are just blown away by what has happened in the last 5 days. I mean, Chester Bennington killing himself. I just can't even remember the other guy's name now, but help me out here, Julie.
Soundgarden?
Chris Cornell, thank you. Chris Cornell, the same thing happening. And I don't really know much about Chris Cornell's past, but, you know, I've been reading a lot about Chester's past. And, you know, so many kids today go through so much bullshit that they have no outlet. They have no one to talk to, you know. I mean, the bullying in school, drug addiction, sexual abuse, there's so many different things that people just don't come out and speak about because they're afraid that people are going to look at them like they're weird or something's wrong with them because they allow these things to happen. But that's not the case in this point. This is just, it's kind of mind-blowing, honestly, if you think about it. It's, you know, I was a huge Linkin Park fan. When I heard about this, Josh actually told me about it, and I didn't believe it at first. You know, I thought, it's one of those celebrity death hoaxes. But then once I got home and I was able to sit down and look through my Facebook feed, and I saw about 30 different people posting what had happened, I was completely blown away. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was actually quite upset about, you know, the fact that he had passed. You know, it's just, it shouldn't have happened. It just shouldn't have happened. You know, I listened to his most recent song, Heavy, and I was thinking about it. This is before he even passed away. I was like, wow, this is a really ominous kind of sounding song. You all right there, Josh?
Yeah. Damn.
Anyway, I was listening to it. It was a really ominous sounding song. I was like, wow, that's just, it's really just, you know, out there. And after he passed away, I listened to it again, and you could literally hear the song saying goodbye. That was it. If you listen to that song again, that's what he was basically saying. That song meant nothing more than his final farewell, truly, to everybody in that instance. So, anyway, the lady that's with us tonight, her name's Julie. You saw her here on 4th of July. She's here for a very specific reason also. Josh is here, well, because he's always here, but Julie has experienced suicide in her family, so she kind of has an idea. Well, excuse me, kind of. She completely knows how the people around him are feeling right now. And I just think the show is a good way to kind of push this out there and you know, let people know that, you know, this isn't happening because, you know, he was a perfectly normal human being and he was just done with life. I mean, the guy had everything he wanted. He couldn't deal with the fact that he was, you know, bullied in school. He was sexually abused. He was addicted to drugs. He started drinking. On top of that, he was in 3 different bands. You know, some people don't know that. One of them, he was one of my favorite bands in the 90s, Stone Temple Pilots. He frontman for them from 2003 until 2015. He was just an amazing individual. You know, not to take anything away from Chris Cornell, because honestly, that guy had a voice that could serenade a lion, dude. I'm telling you, guy was amazing. I personally liked him best when he was in Soundgarden. So that's, you know, it's sad that we lost him. It's sad that we lost Chester. I mean, that's just in the last, 3 months this has happened. We're not going back to Prince overdosing or, you know, Jimi Hendrix or, you know, any of the older people. Look at Kurt Cobain. I mean, all of these iconic people who died because of drugs, or they were abused, or they were bullied in school. I mean, all of this goes back to that time in everyone's life.
Did you read anywhere that there were a lot of people saying that he committed suicide on the day that Chris Cornell did? Something about because they were like really close or something?
He ended up doing it on Chris Cornell's birthday.
Oh.
So that's what makes it a whole different sort of beast here, you know, and you really have to look at people's connection with other people, you know, because if you're really close to someone, it could drive you to do something a bit drastic. It really could. It's just, God, man, it's just insane. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this, Josh? Like, why don't you just rant out about it for a minute?
Well, I mean, I hate that it happened, but I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of theirs, but I mean, I did listen to the older stuff, and to me, you know, it just, the music just got to where it didn't interest me anymore, and then I stopped listening. But as far as the old stuff, you know, goes, I used to listen to that a lot, actually. And I don't know, I just when it comes to something like that, I don't know, I've never experienced any like suicide stuff or anything like that in my life, so I really couldn't speak on that, other than I'm sure it sucks, but
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually, believe it or not, I've actually thought about that myself. I mean, committing the act, or whatever, if you will.
What got you to the point where you even thought about it? That's what people need to understand.
It just, I don't know, I was just tired of everything, just tired of all the crap and the bullshit that I was going through, and I just didn't want to, if I felt that if I just wasn't around, that I wouldn't have to deal with it, and I was done, you know? So that's what it was for me, but luckily I didn't do it, but I have thought about it several times.
When was the last time?
I don't remember. This was like going through high school. I guess going through high school and shit, you know, we go back to being picked on and stuff like it as a kid and younger and stuff like that. Because I used to have a lot of people, because believe it or not, it's not always the small people to get picked on. Sometimes the people like to pick with the big people, like like to
Yeah. If you're
they
overweight
like
or
to test your waters, test you out, and see
Yeah.
how much you can take and how far you're willing to go and stuff like that. So that was part of it. And growing up, I didn't really have a lot of friends or anything, so I was basically like a loner, if you will.
Mhm.
I was basically like a loner and stuff, and I didn't, a lot of people growing up through high school and their life, they're around people, they have friends, they have girlfriends, they have this, that. Me, all I ever did, my place of sanity or my place to go of comfort was to go fishing, and I pretty much did that from the time the sun was down till the sun went back down. That's what I did. I didn't go to parties. I didn't go to the movies with friends. I didn't go to the mall. I didn't do any of that. So for me to get, I guess basically, to put it basically, like basic, if I'm near a body of water of some sort, that's like my place of, I don't know, I guess zen, if you will, or
Yeah.
where I can think straight, I can focus, and and I get away from all the bullshit. So I would do that a lot. So I think that had a lot to help. That helped me a lot with not, actually going through with the act,
Yeah.
if you will.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think a lot of people would be a little bit upset if you weren't around.
And I thought that's the other thing too. I would cross my mind. I would think. I wonder if actually anybody would actually care if I wasn't around. That's another thing that was part of it as well. Like, I didn't really think that people would give a crap. I mean, obviously my mother, my father, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's more people in my life than that. So.
Well, it's a lot more than that now. I mean, it will continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But let's hold off there for a minute.
Be right back.
All right. So, how about you, Julie? I mean, you have dealt with this firsthand, and I know this might be a little bit hard for you to talk about, especially, you're broadcasting this to the world. But, I mean, I think people need to see this from someone who is directly related to it, rather than hearing it come from, news sources and things like that. I think this needs to be something right out there, right in the open, just let them have it,
I've had actually two people in my life that committed suicide. One was, both of them were very tragic and, hurt very bad. The first one was my brother, who I was very close to. And like you said, when you mentioned Chester, everybody says, oh, he had everything. Why would he do it?
Mm-hmm.
My brother was the same way. To look at him, he was most popular. The girls liked him. Everybody loved him. And you look at him and you look at, these people that are doing this, and you look at their life and you're like, he had everything. Why did he do it? Well, what happens is they didn't have everything. They were missing something. And it could have been someone to talk to. It could have been stress, finances. It could be multiple things, and the bad thing is that, as Josh mentioned, and it bothers me that he's had those feelings because, as he was saying, all he thought about was he wanted to get away from it. It bothered him. Everything is surrounded by their emotions, what's going on with them that they want to get rid of.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to communicate to get it out there. And I always tell people, in my experience with my brother and even my neighbor that passed in recent years to suicide, when they talk about it, those times are when you have opportunities to get them help. But when they're really going to do it, they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You think everything's fine. They shut themselves off where they're not communicating. And there's your red flag, because you think everything's fine. They're doing things, but when they're not talking about those emotions anymore, and they're not, sharing their thought process that they were talking to do it, to take their own life, that's when those flags come up. And in most cases, people looking at them, they think everything's good. And, to this day, I still don't know why my brother did it. we can make accusations. I was 26 years old. I lived in Tennessee, and I got the word that my brother had taken his own life. He took 12 Xanax and shot himself. You know, and he took the Xanax to numb himself to be able to do it, and that killed me. It floored me. I mean, that was my go-to. And you know, what they don't realize is when they do that, like Josh had mentioned about, you know, he didn't know how other people felt about him. You know, I look at Josh like a brother. I look at you like a brother. You know, and when it traumatized everybody and still does to this day. You know, my brother had 4 children, all boys, his youngest 6 months old at the time. You know, they still don't know why. My oldest nephew, still to this day, to my knowledge, I think it was just recent, where he's able to show emotion about his father's death. You know, and there's anger because he feels as if he was, you know, didn't care, and he just wanted to go and didn't care about what happened to him, I'm sure. I mean, he has a lot of mixed emotions, so it affects everybody around them. You know, the kids wonder, what did I do? What could I have done? The parents, the siblings, the friends, you know, why didn't he talk to me all the time? Why isn't he talking? Why didn't he call me then? I had that question. Anytime my brother was, you know, talking about suicide, he would talk to me and talk to other people. But that one time he didn't. And I'm like, why didn't he reach out? Why didn't we talk, you know, call somebody and talk to somebody? But they feel like their resources are limited, and they feel like they're the only ones going through it. In my life, I've actually come to, I say everything happens for a reason. And, you know, we don't understand the reasons while it's happening, but we just have to trust in the faith that everything is working as it needs to. Even with this, you know, everything's happened for a reason, and it's bringing people out to talk about it. So this way you can help somebody else. You learn by your experiences, and then you can sometimes help other people that may be going through this, that don't feel like they're accepted. You know, if they're going through, you know, coming out, so to speak, as if, you know, being bisexual, or, you know, coming out of it, as people say, as a closet, being gay, or being bullied, or, you know, big, small. There's all different reasons, and there's different people they can talk to, but they have to have those resources and trust that they have people to talk to.
It's true. You know, I was talking to my aunt earlier. I was trying to get her to come on here because she's she puts a lot of thought into things, and, you know, she'll speak very openly about things. But she told me earlier, she's like, you know, the older generation, our parents, you know, if there was something wrong, they were just like, get over it, you know, grow up, get over it, you know, don't worry about it, there's nothing wrong with you. And their parents instilled it into their parents, they're instilling it into us. So, you know, we get conditioned to believe that even though we're feeling something that we know is off, we don't look at it and think to ourselves that there's an issue. We just look at it and think to ourselves, yeah, I'll get over it. And eventually there's some people who won't get over it. It'll eat them up from the inside, and then before you know it, you know, it's a wrap. And it's really sad, but there's, you know, I think now is a good time to state that there are places that people can go to that can that you can speak to. One of the biggest ones is going to be, you know, that the suicide hotline, you know, 1-800-SUICIDE. Even if you just need to speak with someone, I mean, there's people there just to be able to talk to you about this kind of stuff. Or, you know, they'll speak to you if you're being bullied in school. They'll give you advice. You know, you have the counselors at school. Yes, I know that the counselors in school, no one wants to get caught talking to the counselor because they'll be like, oh, you were talking to the counselor, blah, 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 I'm picking on you about that. But when it comes down to it, sometimes these are just the things you need to do to survive. Honestly, I mean, it's just, that's just what it is. And I know I'm, you know, it sucks, period. Let's just say it for what it is. It sucks. But in all honesty, what can you do if you're not willing to kind of just work on it yourself, you know, or try to go and get, you know, some help from someone. That's pretty much where it comes down to, is you need to be able to reach out to someone to say, hey, this is what's happening. I need some direction, or I need some help. I just need to talk to someone. And I'm sure if, you know, you would just reach out to someone, you will get what you need. It sounds a little crazy, but it's true. That's, you know, exactly what needs to happen. That's how that works. And just, you know, people don't, hold on a moment. People don't look at it as, damn it, I'm clicking the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. People don't look at it that way and think that they could just talk to someone and have help right on hand. You know, they need someone to take them to that location and be like, speak to this person, do this for them. Sometimes they just want someone who they're close to just shut up and listen. And that's what we all need to kind of tune into, is just that shut up and listen mentality. We need to shut down sometimes, not think, and just use our ears. And I think that would make a huge difference for some people. Some people we may not be able to help, but, you know, most people we can. Who knows if, you know, if someone just said, hey, listen, you know, I'll listen to you, or I'll talk to you. I watched the last interview with Chester, and you can literally hear him say, this space between my ears inside my skull is a bad neighborhood. I don't want to be there alone. What does that tell you about that individual? That he needs someone to talk to. He needs to get out of his own head. And no one was there to listen to him. No one helped him through that. And I think that's what caused the big ordeal with him. He needed just someone to listen to him. That's all he needed.
Yes, sometimes, I mean, you have insurance companies that, medical insurance, they have a phone number you can call. Sometimes if you don't feel comfortable talking to someone you know, talk to a stranger. Sometimes it's easy to talk to someone you don't even know. Yeah. Because you don't feel like you're being judged. You know, there's so many different resources out there. You know, I can go on and on about it, you know, as far as the different resources and avenues that are there. It's huge. And, you know, not everything means that something is wrong with the person. You know, it could be something that they're experiencing in their life. It could be something, like an example, I had an autoimmune disease that, of course, is just something with my body. And I slept all the time, fatigued, didn't have no energy. I thought something was wrong, to the point I had to go get checked. Long story short, here it is. I didn't know I had that. And going to the doctor and getting checked underlined the problem. And now I have medication that I take daily, but it keeps me normal. You know, same thing, bipolar, you know, depression itself. You know, there's things, I'm not saying everything has to be medicated, but sometimes you need a little help to get you through things. And it's not saying it's forever and it's permanent, but it's just resources to help you. Sometimes medications itself can have side effects of depression and cause those thoughts. So it's just not acting on them. It's if you're thinking that, yes, you got a resource as to why, and dissect it a little bit further before we act on those, because it affects everybody. Yes. And it's never forgotten. It never leaves you. It's like that curse that stays with you forever.
Well, I mean, you know, it goes back to that saying, you know, sometimes the happiest people are the ones who are most depressed. Look at Robin Williams. Yep. That was the biggest shock of the time, because no one expected anything remotely close to that out of Robin Williams. You know, he was always very happy. He was always, you know, making jokes and, you know, doing his Robin Williams things with his crazy arm hair and everything else. But, well, it's true. That guy is a hairy beast. But when that happened, I remember I was at work. You know, I was in training at work. I was sitting there at my computer, and all of a sudden, you know, I see all these texts going by in our chat room. It's like, oh, my God, Robin Williams killed himself. And we're all like, what? You got to be kidding. First thing I did was Google it. And sure enough, it popped right up. And I was just like, oh, my God. Like, that's insane. And you never really heard much after that. just how it was done, and that was it. So, you know, Chester's story is kind of an open book when it comes to things that happened to him as a kid. Like I said, I was reading up a little bit more right before the show. You know, he was bullied and picked on in school because he was really skinny. He looked a little odd, which, you know, I get it. He was sexually abused. When he finally spoke to someone about it, he asked if, you know, they wanted to press charges. He said no because the guy himself was sexually abused also. So he tried to get him help for it. You know, and then the drugs from, I think he was around 17 years old. He got really bad into drugs, and he ended up moving back in with his mom. His mom pretty much locked him down and told him he couldn't leave the house because she wanted him to get clean, which is, it's a good thing, but in the same note, you have to do it the right way. And apparently, his love for his family was greater than the love for the drugs, or he would have failed. However, he didn't, and he was able to clean himself up. But then, you know, back in 2011, he got really bad into drinking, and, you know, injured himself multiple times doing stupid stuff while he was, you know, touring or whatnot. And, you know, you could just see it was just like a constant fight with depression is what it pretty much ended up being. You can see it. A lot of the songs by Linkin Park were not only written by Mike Shinoda, they were also written by Chester. And if you listen to the words in it, a lot of them are just about getting away and, you know, just being free from it all. The song that I played, Numb, it's clear. I mean, just listen to the words to it. It's right there. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it sounds like he was saying, I just need someone here. I need to speak to someone. And at that point, he was just so numb, he couldn't feel anyone there. And
have you heard of anybody like saying, or anybody like anything written down or anywhere about what's his name and his opinion on it? What happened? It was his partner in a band. I mean,
Mike Shinoda.
Yeah. I have not heard anything that he had to say about it.
Well, why don't you talk for a minute, and I'll see what I can find for you real quick.
Because I'd be really interested in to see what he had to say, considering, like, I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but I always thought by, like, watching both of them on TV or something like that, or in the news and media, that they were, like, you know, best of friends as well.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard him speak on it or anybody say that he spoke on it or anything like that, so I would just be curious as to what his take on it is. Or if he even knew, if he himself, being around him all the time, could see any signs of that, or if he's even himself tried to help him, you know, with it or anything.
Well,
or whether or not, or, you know.
No, I hear what you're saying. He did have a, hold on.
But sometimes even the closest people around you, you know, just like John mentioned about the lyrics of the song, when you hear it, you don't always hear the message that it's reading until after the fact. Sometimes it can be right in front of you, and you can see them every single day, and they put on this, they can put on a front, and everything's good. When it comes time when they're going to do that, you know, they're not asking for help anymore. Their mind's set, so they put on a front that everything's fine.
Shit, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. And then after the fact, then you can put the pieces of the puzzle together to see where you thought you should have seen those signs. But when it's going on, it's not always apparent to see it.
Wow. Well, it's usually the ones that are silent like that. The ones that are shut down are the ones that you have to watch in the first place. Not the ones that I find that people that talk about it all the time, 90% of the time, or they won't do it. But the ones that don't say anything, and you just think everything's good, that's, you know, that's when it happens.
And it stages the depression, because what happens is when they first talk about it, it's when it first gets in their mind, and they try to talk about it, and they talk about it, and usually, like you said, when they talk about it, the outcome isn't usually that they do it. It's when they don't talk about it is when you got to watch out. But usually, statistics, they talked about it at some point in time in their life. So the sign, the very beginning sign, is when they first talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it can go years and years, and they can have several times where they talk about it. And then when they shut down and they stop talking, that's when those red flags need to go up. Because if they've ever talked about it before, then it's something that's entered their mind, and it's something that can revisit itself. And, as we, do things different ways, and some people, actually try, and then, they think further into it in different ways. But, your life.
Take that back, because, I did have somebody in my life that tried committing suicide, and that would have been my real dad. He's tried shooting himself. He's tried cutting his wrists. He did the drug thing and the alcohol thing. He tried all three of them. So I just don't really talk about it, but he was never in my life a lot anyway, more than my stepdad. So I really, I just know that from what I've been told that's, and then my mother would always worry that, like, if I was going to turn out to be the same way that he was, something like that. But that's. He finally passed away, but it wasn't due to himself. It was somebody else. But
everyone's life's important, and what I always say is, people and things will bother you until you yourself no longer let them. If someone is upsetting you that much, or situations are being thrown at you where you feel like it's too much, don't feed into it. You got to walk away from it, because your life is so important.
Well, this is like everyday stress. Like, even though it does get to me, I try to tune most of it out.
You just call me anytime, Josh.
Like, my thing is I tell myself over and over, and I still do, is there's no reason to get upset over something that you have no control of changing, because you're just gonna stress yourself out to the point where it's just your health is gonna start going and everything else. So I always tell myself, I look at the situation at hand that I'm currently, upset about or whatever, and I just kind of break it down a little bit. And if there at any point that there's a point that I can't change anything, any outcome or anything of the situation, then I don't worry about it. I let itself take care of it. I guess let it take care of itself, sort of, or I wait till the time comes of whatever is going to unfold, then I'll deal with it then. But during the meantime, if I can't change it, there's no need to worry about it and stress over it. Nothing I can do to change it. So why get to that point of being overstressed and all that, which could lead to other things, stuff like that.
Well, I couldn't find a official statement yet. All I found was, he's saddened and heartbroken, but the reports were true about Chester. That's all I could find right now, not unless it's
Right.
in video format and I can't, listen to the video while we're doing this. So.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I don't think he's going to put his laundry out there. If he respected him as a friend,
Mm-hmm.
as people that are close to people do, they're not going to put everything out there. That's personal.
Yeah.
It's not for the world to know.
Yeah, it's true. And, just reading some of the stuff I was just reading, the whole band knew that Chester had an issue with drugs and alcohol, and they really, every time they could see him sliding, man, the whole band kind of like jumped on him and helped him. They picked him back up, and, that's what he needed. But in this particular instance, they weren't there.
He didn't want him to be there.
It's true. It's true. And the thing is, their driver was headed to Chester's house with Mike to pick up Chester at the time, and that's how they found out that he had killed himself. So there's a lot around it. It's a lot of reading, but
When my neighbor committed suicide, she did not tell anybody at all. And what she did was it's kind of sad, but it's always sad, but it takes your heart because she called before she did it, she called the coroner because she knew my kids would go over to see her all the time after school. She called the coroner and told them, "You need to come pick up my body. I'm gonna kill myself." And she shot herself in the chest. And the coroner actually had to go to therapy because he was so traumatized by that, because he didn't even get a chance to tell her to stop, to talk to her, nothing. She had it set in her mind. She did leave a note as to why. She had a lot of underlying medical problems, and she didn't want to be a burden to anybody, but she didn't realize that she would never be a burden because people generally cared about her.
Yeah. That was that the one Kristen used to go and see all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was her best friend.
Yes.
And her go-to person and her person to talk to. And, you know, and it works both ways. You know, we can talk to them all day long with our issues, but we want them to do that with us too. So, you know, it's not one-sided. A friendship is more than just listening or talking. It's both ways.
Absolutely.
It really is.
This you know, this topic is pretty damn difficult to talk about. It really is, because there's only so much you can kind of push on it. But, you know, it just comes down to you need to listen. You really need to listen. Tap on the screen, bottom left-hand side, click on it, call in with phone audio. Sorry, I think that might be my aunt finally popping in.
Hello.
Tap it again and turn on your video, please.
Okay. Well, the thing is I'm actually riding with Kimber.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
being that she's here, Josh, this is Terry. You know Terry.
Yeah.
Julie, you've never met Terry. It's my Aunt Terry. She's down in Louisiana. She was the one who actually told me that, you know, the older generations would just be like, get over it, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. And, you know, now we see that, obviously, there is a completely different thing that we should be looking at. Terry, what do you got to add?
Okay. I'm late. I don't know what y'all have already discussed, but I'll go ahead and put in my 2 cents worth. And yeah, like you just said, the older generations before us, you know, they're suck it up. You just need a butt whooping. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You know, it's terrible and it's so sad. And, you know, I'll go ahead and admit it, you know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Just like that saying that's going around, it's okay to not be okay. And I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and everybody's case is different. Just like every individual, every person is different. And so has it ever gotten to the point where I wanted to kill myself? Oh, no. But damn, I've just been down and out, and I just felt worthless, and life just sucks. I mean, like, there's got to be something better than death. You know, and people that know me, they're like, oh man, Terry's so awesome and she's so happy. You know, why is she sad for? There's no reason to be sad. It's just the way that I'm made. This is the way my brain is wired. I can't help it. I just can't. And I have a 17-year-old daughter who is driving me around town now. Oh my God. But, you know, when the red flags go up and you know something's not right, you need to act on it. You need to say something. You need to do something, because if you don't, it's just going to be too late. And I don't joke around about depression or suicide or anything like that, because it's serious. I don't know why people take this as a joke. But I don't know what is the basis of your show tonight, John?
It's basically, we're talking about suicide prevention, bullying in schools, drug addiction,
Man.
alcohol addiction. It's like we're covering the whole sort of spectrum of things that lead into exacerbating anxiety, depression, and getting people to the point of contemplating suicide.
Well, that's another thing too. It doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter your social status. It does not matter. It affects anybody, anywhere. It's terrible. It's just like dope,
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere.
It really is.
And I think as far as bullying and all this that's going on now, like I said, I've got 3 daughters. 2 of them are in school, junior high and high school now. And we like to say, oh, it's so much worse than it was when I was a kid. And that is true. But social media has played a big part.
Yes.
In exploding and just magnifying all this stuff. The same with the media, but I feel as far as depression and mental illness is concerned, it's always been here. It's always been around. It's just, like I said, back in the day, you just dealt with it. You didn't have that technology. You didn't have that medicine to go to and, make yourself better. And you sure the hell didn't talk about it. You talked about it. Something's wrong with you. Like, seriously, you do not want that. You just don't want that mark on you, on your name, and on your body saying that something's wrong with you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and, this is kind of to Kimber also because she's still in high school. What are kids like today in high school when it comes to like bullying and stuff? Like, what kind of stuff does she see? Hi, Kimber.
Hi.
sorry, I kind of pulled you into this. Being that you're in 12th grade, right?
She's going into the 11th. She'll be a junior this year.
Okay, so she's going to be a junior. So, Kimber, if you're uncomfortable speaking on camera, it's fine.
No, she's already here.
Yeah, she's here. So, what is it like? Like, do you see a lot of bullying going on in your school?
No, it's on social media
It's social media bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
where everything's anonymous.
And the mighty keyboard warriors.
Yeah, it's
Everything's
because they're.
anonymous.
And listen, I'm sorry for saying this, but that's just because they're too much of a group of punk ass little bastards who can't do it face to face because they're afraid they're going to get their ass kicked. So they go home and they type shit up on the keyboard and they talk shit about everyone else around them, and it's stupid. It really is just stupid. Like, why do you have to bully someone on the computer?
Well, as we've all, we've all been bullied in some sense, some way or another. And I really think that with people bullying, having lived through it myself, and I try to teach this to the girls, the only reason why they're talking shit and they are bullying is because there's something wrong with them, you know? And it doesn't matter as far as these people are concerned, because 10, 20 years from now, these people aren't even going to be in your life. They're not even going to matter, and it's true, because in all honesty, I graduated from high school. I live in the same hometown 20 years later. And how many of these people do I see around town? A handful. Do I talk to them? No. But that's the thing. Life does go on, and it's so much bigger than this high school bullying bullshit.
Yeah, but you also have to keep in mind, that when you're that age, when you're young and you're in your teens, that's, ask any, doctor or counselor, I'll tell you that's the most tumultuous times in your life. that is the point in which your actual personality is shaped. So all the bullying that comes from, you know, that period of your life can actually shape who you are later in life.
Well, you do need the support. You need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to talk to. And I'm guilty of it. I'm not gonna lie, because whenever I got down and depressed back in, you know, my teenage years, and Kimber knows this because I've used this as an example, as a teaching tool. You know, if something went wrong, oh my God, 15, 16 years old, and me and my boyfriend broke up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna kill myself. Oh my God, you know, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
But life does go on. But I think if I didn't have, you know, a best friend or somebody to talk to, you know, I probably wouldn't be here, because my mental state, like I said, I'm suffering from it now, from depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't be here. So, yeah, but it's not much to add to the commentary that's already been said. But if you got a problem and you think life sucks so bad, just talk to somebody, get help. If you know somebody that's, you know, down and out and stuff, just be nice. So much meanness in the world right now. My God.
There really is. And you know, actually, I'm looking at the chat here. One of my friends, Tiffany Vickers, just posted up, online bullying and fight videos are like all the rage right now. Every time I see those things, I report them. I report every single one of them, because why do I want to look at some kids jumping another kid? Why do I want to watch that? Why would anyone who is normal want to watch some stupid shit like that? I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a video one day of my godson or my niece or my nephew or Julie's kids getting jumped simply because, well, they were there. It's the stupidest thing ever. And honestly, every one of those videos should be sent to the police. The people should be identified, and they should be charged for harassment and, what do they call it? Help me out here.
Like assault or something? I don't know.
Assault, yes, exactly. See, Tiffany, once again, her daughter was in one of those online fight videos. She was attacked, and they recorded the whole thing and put it online. It's just, it's bullshit. Like, why would you do that to someone? Like, I'm getting mad about it. Look, I'm getting mad. I'm starting to get shaky over it. And it just, it aggravates me. It really just aggravates me. There's no reason for any of that. So, that's what I'm, like, anytime I see those, and I even told Jared, I said, stop sharing this garbage with me. Because his friends will send it to him, he'll send it to someone else, and I'm like, stop sharing this garbage. And I'll go in there and I'll start blocking all the people who are sending it from him, or to him, and then I end up seeing it. I just get rid of it.
Wow.
Chris is right, too. See, thank you, Chris, for saying that. Here's the biggest problem with those videos. Not only do they exist, but there's someone standing there recording it, doing nothing about it, or laughing, or there's other people in the group watching, and then they jump in and start helping, or they're laughing at the person because they're getting jumped or whatnot. That kind of stuff needs to stop. I mean, we're supposed to be civilized, and this is primal. We're not apes. Let's not act like apes. I mean, this is a shit that happens in, you know, like Congo, Africa. We're not like this. We're supposed to be evolved as people. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a rant here.
I used to see that stuff with our friend Andy. I was one of the people that seen people bullying him growing up in high school, and I was one of the ones that stepped in and stuck up
Andy
for like them, and we became good friends. And,
he was picked on a lot as a kid. Andy was picked on a lot because he was a strange-looking little dude. Let's be real. But you know what? Andy is awesome. He is such a cool guy, and you know he's worked his ass off to get what he's got. But I remember there's multiple times where people would pick on Andy when me or Joe was there, or you were with us, or anyone like that. And Josh would be the first person that would be like, "You got something to say, bro?" Like Josh had to get out in front of him, like, bring it, let's go.
You remember what's his name, Wayne, right? You remember the time that we were all at Denny's? It was you, me, Jamie, Wayne.
Yes.
And then the whole group of the whole table, they started making. They were pointing at him, laughing at him, and when he walked by and everything because he was dressed different.
Yeah.
Because he wore a cowboy hat, cowboy boots.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
And we got up to leave, and I went to the table, and I said, "You got a problem with the way he's dressed? You can address it with me."
Oh, he did too. And this was like a table full of dudes and like one woman, but it was like 4 or 5 guys. And now Josh is only like, I want to say Josh is about 22 at this point, maybe a little younger. He walks right up to this table, and was like, "You guys got a problem with laughing at him? You can come talk to me about it."
Well, this is going to open up a whole nother can of worms. This is going to be a whole nother show. This has a lot to do with how you raise your kids. I mean, I'm serious. This is how you raise your kids because, like you said earlier, a lot of punk ass little, brats running around here filming all this stuff. Technology today, that's got a part in it, but it's also in how you were raised. But I'll say this too: you are not your environment. Does that make sense?
No,
because, all right, because let's go back to my mom, which is your grandma.
Yep.
She was born and raised in the ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, straight up ghetto.
She was a hard ass boy.
Yeah. I mean, but she came out of that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were broke poor, but, we doing all right now.
Mm-hmm.
We are not products of our environment. You can rise above that stuff, but
you absolutely
anyway,
can.
man, I've got to run in here in the Walmarts with my daughter.
Well,
it was fun. If you got another thing that I can, join in on, I'd like to do so. So
not a problem. I mean, we do these every week at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays, 8 o'clock your time. We'll let you know what it's going to be about the week before, and if you feel like jumping in, I'll send you an invite in the evening.
All right, y'all take it easy. Be careful, Josh. All right.
No, he's not. Later. Oh, there he goes. All right, guys, y'all take it easy. Hey, Kimber, congratulations on the car.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, hon. You take care of it. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys. So now that's words coming from another mother of 2 or 3 daughters, 2 of them which are in high school and junior high. Now, one of your daughters has already graduated. The other one is currently in high school. And I'm sure they've seen very similar things. Very similar things is what she was talking about. Cyberbullying being probably one of the biggest things right now. I just want to bring up one thing here that Tiffany just mentioned. She said that the guy who recorded the drowning, and they were just laughing at the dude, while they were recording it. My personal thought is, if you're going to point at someone and laugh while they're drowning and not help, I mean, you're recording it. You're right there. Why couldn't you help the guy and save his life? However, you pull out your camera and just laugh at him while he's recording, they should go to jail as an accessory to murder. Period. I'm sorry. They allowed it to happen. They had the ability to help him. He should go to jail. It's...
Guilty by association.
Uh-huh.
I remember one instance when I was younger, back to going when I was telling you how I used to like go fishing all the time and everything.
Yep.
Well, there was these kids I remember back in the day when I was fishing when they were known as bullies. Well, at that time I didn't know how to swim, and I was sitting there fishing, and I got up because I saw them coming, so I got up to get ready to leave, and one of the kids actually pushed me into the water. And it was like at least 30 feet deep or whatever there. And I pretty much almost drowned. But luckily there was a guy with a net. He came by and put it down while I was in the water, and I grabbed it. He was able to help pull me out. But that's ridiculous how people can be.
No, it really is. Being that you were saying that, I remember when I was a kid, I think I was... I want to say I was 11, 12 years old. We had a couple friends of ours. I'm not going to mention their names or anything, but we were all hanging out down on this pier, and one of our friends who I recently got back in contact with about 8 months ago was pushed into the lake, and she couldn't swim. And me and my buddy Chris Ferguson ended up getting her out of the water because she couldn't swim at all. Like, she was not even, partially able to swim. And, the guy who did it never really apologized for it. He was just like, it was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke. It doesn't matter if it was a joke or not. I mean, the thought is, think about what the hell you're doing. If you don't know that someone can't do this or that or this or that, I know this is kind of off the beating path, but, you kind of need to know where your limits are. And at that moment, that really affected her for weeks. She was afraid to go by any body of water with anyone because it instantly makes you think this person's going to push me in the water. And that's what I was saying, how, this bullying in school and this cyberbullying can really shape how a person is in their teenage years. They can really stick with you. But also, like my aunt said, we are not a product of our environment. We can rise above that. We can move well ahead of that, and we can overcome those things and just be better than our parents were or the environment we grew up in. Josh is doing well. I mean, his stepdad or his dad, Roy, does the same thing he does. Josh took suit. He loves what he does. I don't know much about your childhood, Julie. So I can't really say anything about it.
I can tell you that when it comes to the internet, social media, it has perks, but it's got a lot of disadvantage too.
Absolutely.
Everything that goes on in your day-to-day life is put on social media. My daughter lost her dear friend's little brother to an accident, and he died. And for days, constant post, and it consumes everybody.
Absolutely.
And instead of taking that time of being with that family and being there for them, or someone that's going through situations, they just post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, Instagram, talk, reach out to somebody, be there face to face. The internet is a good thing for communication and outreach, but when it comes to things that are going on in people's personal lives, sometimes it's good just to have that human contact.
Yeah, you don't need to put out your dirty laundry on social media, which I do see a lot of people doing. Especially people that have kids and stuff like that. I see a lot of arguing over that. I see just besides the bullying, there's just all kinds of stuff that should not be put on social media that people do it anyway. It's like second nature to them now.
I agree. So, I think the best thing to do for especially kids and even people who are extremely sensitive, they need to have their accounts locked down in a position where if you're not on their friends list, they can't find you. They can't even put in your email address and find you. You have to friend request them. I think that will cut back dramatically on those sorts of things. And I think if Facebook is going to allow people under the age of 18 to be on Facebook, or 16 or whatever it is, that you must, when you log in for the first time, your account goes completely locked down and you can only add people And you have to verify that with their name or what school they go to or something in that sort. And then in that point, they won't have anyone on their page who would be able to send you messages of harassment or bullying or anything in that sort.
They're putting information on there to start the account, so they don't put the true age on there.
That's true, and that's the biggest problem with this. They don't put their correct age on there. So, half of these kids who are only 13 who have Facebook are showing that they're 20 years old, and we all know they're not 20 years old. I know a few people who are currently falling under that. So do you. I know you do. And, that's just one of those things that just opens up the doors for social bullying, social media bullying.
You have a young child that's going to eventually...
He will not be allowed on social media until he is 25. I will break him. So will his mother. But if he ends up getting on there early, his account would be, she would lock his account down like you won't even know. So I completely understand that. But real quick, it is 10 o'clock, so we are going to wrap up. But you know, basically, take heed to everything we said here tonight. I mean, we weren't just talking just to have something to say. We were talking about very specific things. Suicide prevention. Once again, phone number is 1-800-SUICIDE. If you have someone you feel needs to just talk to someone, or you feel something weird, give them the number, tell them to call, or you call them yourself and explain to them what you're seeing, and maybe you'll be able to get some pointers that may help you save this person's life. Bullying is something that we need to find out how to push it out. We need to get rid of bullying. These online fight videos need to stop. They need to stop. There is no question about it. They have to go. They're horrible, and I think I'm going to start a petition on Facebook to remove every single one of them, and anyone caught uploading them, their accounts need to be locked out for at least 5 days. I think I'm going to have a lot of people on my back about that too, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I actually mean it in a good way. I think if we have that, that could solve a lot of it, because then people won't be recording it and sharing it. That's something that also needs to happen with YouTube also, that, you know, they need to be aware of these fight videos. They need to come down. Other than that, please, if you've learned something or you heard something tonight that you enjoyed, like the video, subscribe, please share the hell out of this thing. I want people to watch this. I want them to hear what we were talking about. Yes, we talked about Chester, but it also spiraled into a lot of other things when it comes to protecting ourselves and the ones around us. So, once again, thank you very much. Do you guys have anything else to say?
Just remember, everyone is important and loved, and you always pick somebody.
I like that.
I concur.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in tonight. Next week, we will be back on our regular show. We will be nuts. We'll do something stupid. But, you know, we had to keep it down kind of low-key tonight. We wanted to be serious for a show because we had to, especially with everything that's going on and how much of this is in the news. You know, we want to raise more awareness to what can be done. So, thank you, guys. Have a good night. And, Josh, please try to be quiet.
And say a prayer for Chester's family and loved ones that are experiencing this.
Thank
and
you.
anyone that's experiencing it.
Exactly, exactly. Guys, thank you once again. Y'all have a good night. Just everyone for a few minutes. Thank you. And thank you for watching the show. Have a good night, guys.
In this farewell, there's no blood, there's no alibi, 'cause I've drawn regret from the truth of 1,000 lies. So let mercy come and wash away what I've done. I'll face myself to cross